So we are in part 8 of lesson 92. We are talking about the perfect tense. You have to understand your simple and your progressive to really understand your perfect. So we're going to go through all of them so you can see the difference. Now we are focusing on the irregular verb of the word set. What is fun about this one is it is all the same. The only thing that would be different is your ing for setting. But these are all the same. So this, if you can remember that set is the simple tense is set and the simple past tense is set and the past participle is set, then you won't have a hard time with this word. Now let's look at the future tense with this word. Now we're going to go the future simple. We have to use the word will. I will set the table. You will set the table. Daniel will set the table. Now, the future tense in the progressive, you have to use the words will be. I will be setting the table. We are in first person. Second person, you will be setting the table. Third person, Dan will be setting the table. Now look at the future tense for the perfect. What do we have to use for the perfect? Right there. I will have. So now you're using your auxiliary verbs. Will have. I will have set the table. Second person, you will have set the table. Third person, Dan will have set the table. Okay, so remember, first person, I. Now I'm staying in singular right here. You is second person. Third person is Dan. We are in singular. Right? Are we in singular or plural?
Singular.
Right. Boys, this is where I want to make sure that you're understanding. Future tense, you have to be using the auxiliary verbs will have for the perfect. Future, the perfect future, the future perfect. However you want to say it, you need to be using what auxiliary verbs?
You will have.
Will have. What auxiliary verbs do you need to use?
For will have.
For future perfect.
Will have.
Will have. And then you use the past participle, which is set. I will have set the table. You will have set the table. Dan will have set the table. Now, the present tense, we're going to go in the simple present tense is right here for set. So, the simple present tense. So you say, go to the simple, I set the table. See how no auxiliary verbs, it's so simple. That's why it's called the simple tense. You do not need any auxiliary verbs to help it out. You don't need any INGs, no suffixes, nothing to make that work. So first person, I, we're in the singular. Second person, you, in the singular, you set the table. Third person, singular, Dan sets the table. Now look what happened here. It changed because it's in present tense, third person singular. So you put the S on there. So where do we have all of our changes happening? In the present tense. So now we have present progressive. We're going to put our ing onto our simple tense. You're going to double the T because it's a consonant vowel consonant, and you're going to add on your ing. But you have to use your auxiliary verbs when you're in the present tense, am, are, and is. Am is first person, are is second person, and is third person. You have to use those auxiliary verbs properly. Now you say, I am setting the table. So am goes with the ing, are goes with the ing, is goes with your ing progressives. I am setting the table, you are setting the table, Dan is setting the table. Now, the present tense perfect, that's what we're focusing on. I have set the table. What auxiliary verb do you have to use in the present perfect tense?
Have.
The perfect present tense. You have to use have. For, look, first person, it's singular, so you're using I have set. Now, second person, you have set, but look what happens in third person present. Dan has set the table. This switch to has. Now let's go over this part again. Present tense perfect, perfect present. What auxiliary verb do you have to do?
Have.
Have in the present perfect. You have to use have. When it's first person, I have set the table. When it's second person, you use have. You have set the table. But in third person, present, it switches to has. Dan has set the table. Past tense. Let's focus on the past tense. Now we're going to go into the simple past tense. You want to go with the simple, you're going to use the simple past. But with this one, it's easy because it's just set, right? It's an irregular verb because most of the time we say setted if we want to add on our ed, but this is irregular, so we're using the simple past of set. So I set the table, you set the table, Dan set the table. Look at this. This does not, Dan set the table, this does not change to the S like it did in here because you're saying that this is in the past. So you have to use the past here and it doesn't change. It only changes in the present. So this can be crazy confusing. You want it to stay in the past so you're not using the S right here. So the past progressive, I was setting the table. Look, you're using the past auxiliary verb. You were setting the table. Dan was setting the table. Now the past tense in the perfect. What auxiliary verb are we going to use when it's past? You're going to use had. When it's in the perfect, so you're going to say the perfect past. You're going to say, I had set the table. Look, first person, had. Second person, you had set the table. Third person is had. Dan had set the table. It doesn't change like it does in the present right here. You need to remember that set means to place down. You're setting your phone down. It's set down. So that you have to remember the definition of this word and it'll help you. Now we have the simple is the word set. Now the progressive is your proper helping verb wherever it's going to be. Is it going to be in the past, the present, the future, whichever it's going to be in? You need the proper helping verb plus the word setting. In the perfect, you need the proper helping verb plus the word set. See, the past participle. So the proper helping verb in the perfect, the simple progressive, or the perfect tense. Now, the simple past is set also. It's the same. The simple past and the perfect are the same verbs. So it makes it a little bit simpler. All right, everybody, that's it for this word, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye. Yep.
Stay tuned.